Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. You're watching Global Digest on ADBN. I am Alma Marcus. Our focus is now in Africa, where the economic landscape is evolving rapidly, shaped by global trends and regional policies and structural challenges, from trade and industrialization to financing and digital transformation. The continent is at a pivotal moment in its development journey. But recently released UNCTD Economic Development in Africa Report 2024 sheds light on these pressing issues, with offering insights into Africa's economic trajectory and the opportunities ahead. Well, joining me down to break down the key findings of this report and what they mean for Africa's future is Dr. Okoyemi. He is a postdoctoral research fellow at the University of Johannesburg, South Africa. Dr. Okoyemi, welcome to Global Digest. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you for coming. Well, let's delve right into the economic challenges. Well, in what ways have global economic changes over the years impacted the financial stability of Africa?
Sorry, can you take the question again?
So I'm asking, okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, so I'm asking, in what ways have global economic changes over the years impacted the financial stability of Africa?
Okay, yeah. The question is, in what ways has global economic changes affected financial stability in Africa?
Yes.
Well, quite a number of factors can be the reason for the unstable financial status of Africa. For instance, the most important factor is the volatility of commodity prices in the international market. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, the major pressing issue is the unstable prices of commodity prices in the international market. Between 2014 and 2016, Nigeria and Angola had a problem in this area in which the price of petroleum crude oil fell sharply, and that affected revenue inflow to Nigeria as well as to Angola. So one of the major factors is to stabilize, is to ensure that we protect the economy against such sharp volatility in the prices of commodity prices. And that simply means that we should be ready to convert our local products from raw materials to finished product by establishing industries in the domestic economy that will make us be able to become resilient against international movements in prices. The other factor that could also affect financial stability is the foreign direct investment and capital flows between countries. In recent times, there has been a global shift of companies manufacturing from the EU and US and Canada and some other countries like that. They've not been coming to Africa in recent times, and that's because of the political instability in Africa. So for the continent to really have financial stability, it is very necessary for the government in various African countries to provide an enabling environment that will promote foreign direct investment and capital flows, whether foreign direct investment or remittances or any other forms of capital flows that will be coming to the African continent. So it is very important we provide an enabling environment that promotes such inflows of capital, and that will enable the economy, the various economies in Africa to be robust and to grow in terms of income, revenue, and financial resilience to the external economy.
Well, okay, so earlier when you were speaking, you spoke about resources. Well, what strategies can African nations adopt when it comes to moving from relying on resources and to focusing on industrialization?
Yeah, to focus on industrialization, it simply means that we must be able to move from raw material dependent economy to industrial economy. That simply means that we transform our raw materials from the raw state to finished state instead of exporting raw. For instance, Ghana exports cocoa on a large scale. Nigeria exports crude oil on a large scale. Ivory Coast exports cocoa on a large scale. And if we really want to promote the financial strength in Africa, we need to look inward. We should not always be exporting raw materials, enriching developed economy at the expense of African economy. All we need to do at this point in time, just like Trump is really driving policies to promote American economy, we also should look inward by formulating policies, providing a environment, creating tax policy, fiscal efficiency that will ensure companies in the domestic economy are able to transit from being raw material dependent to industrial production or processing of raw materials.
Okay, so let's look at the Continental Free Trade Area. What role is that playing in enhancing trade within the African region?
Yeah, the Intercontinental Free Trade Area is very crucial in promoting free trade in Africa by removing barriers to trade across. Actually, the major goal of African Continental Free Trade is to remove barriers, structural factors, limitations, anything that can influence or let me say constraints to intra-movement of goods and services within the African continent. And the goal is to promote a self-reliant African economy that is not dependent on external economy. So that's a major factor. And the goal of AFTA is to make sure that it removes at least get rid of 90% tariffs on products that are majorly produced in the African economy, and to also remove every factor or limitation or maybe it could be quantitative factor such as quantitative restriction or custom factors that could affect effective flow or interboundary movement of goods and services. And also, AFTA is also there to ensure that there is inter-countries investment across African countries. That is, investors in Nigeria, for instance, should be able to invest in Ghana. Those in Ghana should be able to invest in South Africa without any constraint, or even if they are constrained, like they should be reduced to the barest minimum. So the major goal of AFTA is to promote African economy that is self-reliant and highly productive.
Well, let's look at the financing challenges now, because yeah, can you hear me? Hello, Dr. Payme, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, let's see what other, let's look at the finances now. What financing challenges are hindering this economic growth that we're speaking of in Africa?
Quite a number of factors, yeah. In financial growth. Sorry, what are the factors that hinder what?
Yeah, I'm talking about the financial challenges that are hindering economic growth in Africa.
Yeah, the major factor is access to credit facilities. We have domestic firms, we have companies that find it difficult to be able to meet up with their financial needs to cope with their productive activities. And not only that, we also have other factors like government taxation policy, which could also be a huge factor on company. When the company needs to pay a large percentage of tax, then it becomes a burden on the company to be able to be efficient. Another factor is infrastructural problem. Quite a large number of companies depend on self-generated power supply to be able to cope with their with their productive activities. If we have African continent that invests massively in infrastructure, that invests massively in electricity, that invests massively in water supply, that invests massively in healthcare services, that invests massively in social right capital, that will minimize cost in the private sector. That will help to promote private sector initiatives and private sector activities. So the major constraint is high cost of doing business and the inability to access funds, even from from financial institutions. And when some of these companies go to financial institutions, they get funds at high interest rates, and that could also be discouraging, and that could also limit the extent of business expansion on the continent. So, as an economist, I'll be advising government on the continent to ensure that access to funds should be made comfortable for businesses, minimizing cost of capital, and providing necessary factors like social right capital that will reduce cost of doing businesses. When businesses need to spend less on other factors like good roads and electricity and other things that will make them comfortable and efficient, then they will be able to use their available resources productively and efficiently. So it's a combination of private sector and public sector initiative.
Okay, so let's talk about foreign direct investment. How can African governments attract more of that
Okay.
while also safeguarding our local industries?
Yeah, we can attract more foreign direct investment, firstly by providing the needed environment. Like you can, obviously, you will not expect foreign industrialists to come invest in an economy if the chance of making profit and covering costs is very low. So number one factor is to provide the needed environment, and that means that we need to provide the necessary social overhead capital. That is very crucial and indispensable. And very like very indispensable. Then another thing again is that government should ensure that FDI that flows into the economy are channeled appropriately, such that it does not displace local entrepreneurs, local businesses. When you, for instance, over the years, businesses that come into the economy have been getting extractive industries, and that really have been squeezing the system of resources. And well, we may think we are getting some progress, but on the long run, it will not really be a blessing, but rather a curse for African companies. So, government must ensure that as FDI come to the economy, they invest not just in extractive industry.
Okay. Now, how do we achieve the balance between economic growth
Sorry,
and...
sorry. I'm not. Sorry. I'm still
Okay, go ahead.
speaking.
Go ahead. Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So government must ensure that Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Government must ensure that foreign industrialists that invest in the domestic economy employ a substantial amount of local resources in their productive activity. And they must also, government should also set standard on the extent of employment that they must cope with in the economy. Like for instance, if we have a foreign firm in the economy or in any African countries that employs more foreign firms, foreign they're using foreign labor, foreign resources at the expense of global, at the expense of local resources, that will not really promote the what government wishes to promote in the African continent. So government must ensure that as these firms come to the economy, they employ local experts such that there will be a transfer of technology from this foreign expatriates to our local individuals and the labor market in general.
Okay, so how do we achieve that balance between economic growth and environmental sustainability?
Yeah, to achieve economic balance between economic growth and environmental sustainability, the major thing that needs to be achieved is to invest in green economy. That is, we must promote our systems such that we do not deplete our natural resources. For instance, in recent times, that even in the developed country, you can see electric vehicles, you can see things being, you can see technology really making waves and minimizing atmospheric pollution. So what government needs to do is to invest in smart technology that will minimize the effect of that will minimize pollution in the economy.
Okay, Dr. Okpeyemi, it's been a pleasure speaking with you this afternoon. Thank you for joining the show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. So the major factor is to invest in smart technology and to also ensure that government should make sure that it promotes green economy.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming on the show and giving us those updates. We really appreciate you.
It's my pleasure.
All right. All right. So we have been speaking with Dr. Okpeyemi. He is a postdoctoral research fellow at the University of Johannesburg, South Africa, where we have been breaking out the key findings and was speaking about global trends and major African regional policies that have affected the African economy.